How do you see this big question of this evening? Bourses as business, is that good or bad?
That is a question I was struggling with most of my professional life, because it really is an interesting point how exchanges have moved on. You see, when you're part of the Chamber of Commerce, you are much more in a position to be neutral when it comes to decision making concerning your members. When you depend on the income you make from members, things become a little bit more difficult. Let me give you some examples. Let me start with a simple one. I had some years ago a long discussion with Ludwig von Reicher, who was at the time the chairman of the American Chamber of Commerce in Germany. And that was about, I would say, 6 years ago, something like that. And as you probably know, Berlin is quite a center for startups. And we have a lot of seed capital going around. So he was involved in that, and he was looking for exit strategies. So he came to me and he said, guys, you're an exchange. Why don't you offer those startup companies, after they have reached a certain maturity, an exit by going public? The problem we had here is that we are doing this to earn money. And in order to analyze a company, to figure out if the product they're offering has a certain quality, which we then can associate with our different market segments when we have primary listings, we have to spend a lot of money and a lot of effort to do that. Talking about significant work, because you have to have people who understand that business and understand the metrics behind. And then you ask your question, can you get that money back in? And the answer is not really, because we're not Deutsche Börse. Our distribution power is much more limited. And as you know, if you participate in a primary offering, you associate your brand and your name with it. And for that, from 100 startups, maybe one succeeds. And from about 10 companies who go public, maybe 1 or 2 become really successful. But the other 8 or 9 are going to lose money for the customer. And you destroy your brand. So for an exchange like Equiduct or like Börse Berlin, it was commercially a very bad thing to get involved in primary listings. From a market point of view, looking at the different startups in Berlin or elsewhere, we left a gap. And I really felt bad about it, because that is one of the key reasons why exchange exists. Now, if I had a way to take the commercial element out of the equation, things would have been much easier, but we can't. So we never did primary listing. We never approached that. And people were quite unhappy with that respect. That is just one example. I can give you other examples. Short selling. In Germany, we have a different way to handle that than in other countries in the EU, at least at the time when I was still in charge. I think it's still the same, but I put that disclaimer on there. I think it's still the same. In Germany, it is not only the responsibility of BaFin, our regulator, to decide if an instrument has to be suspended because we want to stop short selling. It is also the responsibility of managing director of the exchange. What happens is you are running, let's say you have an instrument where you do not a lot of business, but some business, which is also listed on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange, on the Paris Stock Exchange, on the London Stock Exchange, and they decide to suspend it for whatever reason. They decide to suspend it. So normally we would then follow and suspend it as well. However, there are a lot of customers who really want to trade. They want to unwind their position. They want to trade. So from a commercial point of view, there is a huge incentive not to suspend, because now suddenly I'm the only one left, and all those orders come to me, and I make a lot of money commercially. But I'm not doing my job as a regulator, because common sense tells me that if all those major exchanges suspend that instrument, there is a real need to protect the investor, and I should suspend as well. So that is another example.